They were young, 18, maybe 19, and in their hands was a weapon they'd been told would save their lives. The M1 Carbine. Light, fast, modern, but on the killing fields of Europe and the jungles of the Pacific, they'd learned the truth. Sometimes that little rifle was a death sentence. The year is 1940. The U.S. Army is expanding, training for a war it isn't ready for. Every soldier needs a rifle, but not every soldier can handle the 10-pound Garand, the thundering semi-automatic .30-06 that defined American firepower. The Army needs something else. A light rifle. A gun for officers, paratroopers, radio operators, and support troops. Something easy to carry, easy to shoot, but still lethal. Winchester answers the call. By 1941, the M1 Carbine is born. Chambered in .30 carbine, a short, straight-walled round. Firing from a 15-round detachable magazine. Semi-automatic, lightweight, accurate up to 300 yards on paper. It weighs just 5.2 pounds. Less than half of a Garand. Soldiers pick it up and feel like they're holding the future. They don't know it yet, but that future has limits. The M1 Carbine enters the war with high expectations, and for a time it delivers. In the hedgerows of Normandy, in the streets of Cherbourg, in the steaming jungles of Guadalcanal, soldiers love its weight, its speed, its lack of recoil. But then reality sets in. December 1944. Ardennes Forest. Private Raymond Ray Collins of the 28th Infantry Division would never forget it. I was dug in on the edge of the woods when the Germans hit us. Thick fog. I saw a shape running toward me, maybe 30 yards out. I emptied half my magazine. He didn't go down. He just kept coming. The German soldier, likely high on adrenaline and methamphetamine tablets handed out by the Wehrmacht, finally dropped after Ray fired at point-blank range. The .30 carbine had hit him 3 times. None were immediate stops. And this story? It wasn't rare. Across the Ardennes, soldiers whispered the same thing. It takes too many rounds to put a man down. On Bougainville, Corporal Ernie Davis found out the hard way. We were on patrol, close quarters, thick brush everywhere. I had the carbine. Thought it'd be perfect for that. Then a Jap charged me maybe 10 feet away. I hit him center mass. He stumbled, but kept swinging that damn bayonet. If my buddy hadn't had his Thompson, I wouldn't be here. The issue wasn't just the cartridge. The .30 carbine round was underpowered, more pistol than rifle. At close range, sure it could wound. But at longer ranges, or against soldiers wearing heavy winter coats in Europe, penetration suffered. German troops often wore thick greatcoats. Japanese soldiers sometimes tied bamboo or wooden planks to their chests. Against these obstacles, the light .30 round faltered. To understand the carbine's flaws, you have to look at the numbers. Ballistics, the reality. Muzzle velocity, 1,970 feet per second. Effective range, claimed 300 yards, but realistically 150 yards. Energy, 900 foot-pounds, barely above a .357 Magnum. Compare that to the M1 Garand. Muzzle velocity, 800 feet per second. Effective range, 500 yards. Energy, 500 foot-pounds. The carbine was never meant to replace a rifle in combat, but by 1944, it was everywhere. Frontline infantrymen carried it. Paratroopers dropped into Normandy with it. And too often, they expected rifle performance from what was essentially an oversized pistol. In controlled conditions, the carbine performed well. It was accurate, lightweight, and semi-auto fire gave an advantage over bolt-action rifles like the German Kar 98K. But combat isn't controlled. Mud, snow, and sand caused feed failures. The small, thin magazines bent easily, and the weapon's light recoil spring could jam when fouled. In the freezing conditions of the bulge, carbine bolts froze solid. Soldiers urinated on the receivers just to thaw them. The .30 carbine round had another problem. It wasn't a true rifle round, and it wasn't a true pistol round. The result? Inconsistent stopping power. German soldiers hit multiple times could keep advancing for seconds, enough time to throw a grenade or fire back. In the Pacific, where close quarters ambushes were common, this delay was deadly. And yet, soldiers still loved the carbine. Why? Weight. You could carry twice as much ammo for half the weight of a Garand loadout. Handling. In tight spaces, especially for paratroopers and vehicle crews, the carbine was a dream. Rate of fire. Semi-automatic, with controllable recoil, even rookies could empty a magazine accurately. To support troops, artillerymen, and officers, the carbine was perfect. But the deeper into combat zones it went, the more its weaknesses showed. By late 1944, word had spread through the ranks. If you're going up against Germans in close combat, get a Garand, get a Thompson, just don't rely on the carbine. At Bastogne, with the 101st Airborne cut off and surrounded, paratroopers cursed their carbines. In the snow and bitter cold, the little rifles jammed. We'd slap the bolt with our helmets to get it to close, one survivor wrote. Others swapped them for captured MP-40s or abandoned Garands when they could find them. In Okinawa, the final and bloodiest Pacific campaign, the carbine again revealed its limits. Marines advancing through caves and tunnels found the weapon lacked the punch needed to stop charging Japanese troops. Many Marines switched to shotguns or Thompson submachine guns whenever possible. The Army tried to fix the problem. By late 1944, they introduced the M2 carbine, capable of full auto fire with a 30-round magazine. But the core issue, the weak cartridge, remained. Soldiers found the M2 controllable and fun to shoot, but in terms of stopping power, it still fell short. Despite its flaws, the M1 Carbine left a mark on history. Over 6 million were produced, making it the most manufactured small arm of the war. It served in Korea, where bitter winters exposed its reliability issues all over again. In Vietnam, ARVN troops carried it into battle, often with mixed results against AK-47, Arm Viet Song. Today, it's remembered with a strange mix of nostalgia and frustration. Collectors prize them. Shooters appreciate their lightweight feel. But veterans, the ones who carried it into battle, remember its failures as clearly as its strengths. It wasn't a bad weapon. It was just misunderstood. The M1 Carbine was never meant for the front lines. It was a badge of rank, a lightweight defensive tool, not a rifleman's gun. But war doesn't care what a weapon was designed for. In the frozen forests of Bastogne, in the jungles of the Pacific, in foxholes from Normandy to Okinawa, the carbine was asked to do a job it wasn't built for. And too often men paid the price. When we talk about World War II weapons, we remember the Garand, the Thompson, the Bar. But the carbine? The little rifle that tried to be everything to everyone? Its story is quieter and far more complicated. Light, fast, deadly sometimes. But in war, sometimes can get you killed.